tear in your eye. What do you believe in? What do you believe in? What do you believe in? When you walk through those doors. Such my heart, I was waiting for you to have something to say. Such my heart, I was waiting. Why do so many look away? What do you believe in? What do you believe in? What do you believe in? When you walk through those doors. Do you believe in the children? Do you believe in our home? Do you believe in the children? Do you believe in our home? I've been watching you go inside. You've been questioning why. I've been watching you come outside without a tear in your eye. What do you believe in? What do you believe in? What do you believe in? When you walk through those doors. What do you believe in? What do you believe in? What do you believe in? When you walk through those doors. What do you believe in? What do you believe in? What do you believe in? When you walk through those doors. God bless. I'll just keep it really short and share all the positives too. I've now sat here for 101 hours or close to, written 4 songs exactly in this position, including that today, inspired by what I've witnessed here. First, I'm going to start with the positives. I've of course met all of the good people. Bar du Olmo have given me beer on credit, food on credit, and food for free, and cafe on credit. Wonderful Bar du Olmo. Extra Bar have also been really supportive. I've shown that already on videos, and I've met all of the good people here, of no question. But what I've witnessed outside these church doors is the saddest event I've witnessed in 12 years. Standing with God, the children, and our one and only home in 2 separate languages, and sharing the truth of the greatest writer's undeniable prophecy over and over and over again. I repeat some really good positives. I've met all of the good people here, and I see all the wise people sitting around, and I know all of the children. Not by name, or some of them may tell me their names, I forget because there's too many. And all of the children since I've been here, every single one, there's one troubled teenager with a really inflated ego, aggressive ego, but other than him, all of I said out loud, hopefully people understood, someone should speak to his parents. When I was that age, I had respect and manners. But moving away from that, all of the children crossing the square in 101 hours, pretty much, know I'm here and they've shown appreciation and love. Children brought these today, flowers and a picture. So I've sat here for 101 hours, not counting the wedding ceremony, not counting that because, well, it's a wedding, I couldn't really expect too many people to stop, but they still did. So in the whole of that time, which is what's inspired when you walk through those doors right there, I've logged and documented exactly what I've witnessed. Up until yesterday, at the 80 hour, let's say 80 something hour mark, only 2 single adults walking through these doors and back out. I've shown any compassion or empathy to a writer of now 34 songs, 34 songs, including 4 outside the church doors, which, trying to stay calm while I'm sharing that statistic. Yesterday, a couple who knew my face from Masala walked through the church doors and back out and stopped because they recognized me. So outside of that, even if I include those 2 people who already recognized me from Masala and people in the wedding ceremony, and yesterday I received a gift from people from Shaka who came here saying they miss me, which was really nice too. So, in 100 hours of sitting here, writing 4 songs, and 7 in Shaka 2, a new album in the last 17 days, sleeping outside the church doors, no problem. I've been on the road 4,000 days. I've slept in many worse places than that. That's not the story. The story is what I've logged. So, imagine this. When I slept in Campo de Fury in the heart of Rome playing there, I'd wake up with meals next to my head, and I'd wake up with money next to my head nearly every day in the heart of a big city. And, well, isn't a little bit of an excuse. If you're walking around a big city, then there's the excuse, well, I can't possibly give to everyone. But I thought about this too. That's €1. If it's a big city, divide that into 10 and give everyone you can, or 10 people 10 cents each. Well, it's just €1 after all. Everyone, even myself on the road for 12 years, it's very rare I'll walk past 10 people in need as I'm going for a coffee or taking a walk. €1 divided into 10 different people. If every adult was doing that, or every adult that possibly could, every single homeless person gains, every single street artist gains globally, and nobody loses anything other than €1. Let's imagine it's a really big city, and this €1 is divided into 20, and you give 20 people 5 cents each. Let's imagine it's a small city, and it's still €1, and this €1 is divided into 4, and each of the 4 people that you see while you're on your way are given 25 cents each. It's still only one single euro. What I've logged here, being the only artist, I'm not sitting in a square like Campo de Fury. My friends are the begging people there too. Everybody's got their cross to bear. So, ciao. Yeah, so just someone said hello. So, imagine this. I'm the only one in this square. It's a beautiful place. I got to know all the good people, mentioned they're the positives. But during that time, including 2 people who knew me, only 4 adults walking through the church doors and back out have shown any compassion or empathy for a long-term writer and a writer of 3 albums in Sicily. So needless to say, if I was one of the rejected ones, a homeless man or a homeless lady sitting here right now, the results would not have been any better. And it's not about here specifically. I've logged the same results in cities too, and sat there watching, and sat next to homeless brothers and sisters, many of my best friends in my journey in many cities. So imagine that as a writer, less than 1% of the adults going through the doors and back out have shown any compassion whatsoever. I've watched very closely. They'll walk out and often not even look, walk straight back to their cars, walk across the squares in their screens, walk inside, take some pictures, walk back across the square and not even look. Think about this for a second, fair enough. If this was a square there is some kind of excuse if you've got to walk past 20 people, but back to the €1. Why is that not divided and given to the 10 people you see? It's only €1 after all. Everybody gains, nobody loses. To have logged the statistics I've seen here, the most shocking statistics I've ever sat down and documented. I'm grateful for the writing and all of the good people I've met, including, but back to stay with that for a second, to imagine that. Hundreds of people have walked through the doors in 100 hours, no question. And only less than 1% have shown any compassion whatsoever for a writer. So obviously, the statistics for a homeless brother or sister would be worse than that. To see what's happened to society is so sad. And then this happened today. A family from Romania came over. First, they bought me tobacco and food and a beer. And then they offered to pay for me to stay in a hotel. One of the family, the father, was crying, saying, I feel really bad because I walked past you a couple of times. I said, no. But he bought me breakfast the other day too. And then the rest of the family have offered to pay for me to stay in the hotel tonight and give me a lift to Agrigento. The money for the ticket, which was almost impossible to make, just €8 outside of still be able to eat, take a cafe and a couple of beers while I'm sitting here all day in 20 degrees, which is what it's been. So to imagine the statistic of that as the only artist here is the most shocking statistic I've ever documented. While I've clearly sat here repeating words of change, teaching the children of here, which is what I've been doing for a long time, to come back to the other way. And the amount of adults across this square and every square everywhere for years in one place only, in here, is truly shameful. It's gone on for 7 years. Many have suffered on the streets. All of the world's artists, musicians, poets and writers have suffered. All of the world's homeless people have suffered. And tens, if not hundreds of thousands, have died on the streets as a direct result of it too. And hand on heart, I believe the plastic's linked to it too. And all of the decline comes back to the heads going down into the screens. If that is the statistic in a small place where less than 1% of the adult community crossing the square and in and out of the church doors would show any compassion whatsoever for a writer of 20 years and a writer of 3 albums right here, then what exactly does that say? Well, it says that they're going the wrong way, which goes back to the song, which is, I'm grateful for the inspiration, but it's of course a painful experience. I've had to suffer to write this, and the last verse, You Touched My Heart, I Was Waiting, is about the family who've just come and offered to pay for my hotel. So why can't we all be like that? What happened to the adult society? Well, I can confirm this from watching and monitoring it all. Compassion is the lowest I've ever seen, as is empathy. So many people are stuck in the ground, and so many people are stuck in the screens. What happened? Well, it's all gone drastically wrong. And during the same process, if we look at the plastic too, millions of creatures have died, millions of humans have died, driving accidents, walking accidents, homeless people, all during the last 10 years, while the heads went further and further down into here. Problem number one, and first impressions during the same time period rapidly got out of control too. To imagine that statistic as the only person here, that 99% of the adults walking into the church and back out would have zero compassion whatsoever. So I thought about this in other cities too, it's not just about here. What exactly do they believe in when they walk through the doors? I believe in everything else the other way. All of the creatures, all of reality, all of the creatures of reality, and the children with God, our home, our one and only home. So I feel happy with the results of what's happened with, of course, the family offering me such incredible hospitality. And I couldn't help think about this too. They're from a land where people are called gypsies, but yet the most warmth I felt, of course I'm not taking away from the good people I've met here at all, but the biggest warmth and hospitality I've received is also from a land where people are regarded as gypsies, as I am for a long time. I've heard it in conversations and been asked that question many times in many lands. But what if I was? My grandfather was Irish. I never met him, but what if I was? What if I was a gypsy? Why should that matter while I'm sharing the truth in 2 separate languages and in the other countries I've travelled through too? Why should it matter while I'm sharing the truth? Which tribe I'm from? Well, it shouldn't. The biggest warmth I've received and hospitality is from a land where people are called gypsies. But there's the evidence. They've just brought me a bag of clothes. They've given me all kinds of stuff and paid for a hotel and offered me a lift to the next stop. Other than that, I'm happy with all of the inspiration. Sicily is beautiful, the weather's crazy, and I'm grateful to have reached so many children, standing with everything else the other way. And I'm happy to say that I can see I've made a difference here in their society too, standing with everything else the other way. Surely it's time to come back to the other way. I love all of the other creatures, the seagulls, in Gabbiani in Italiano, and all of the other creatures the other way. And that's where the children are. They're in reality. God bless.